That's two very for John Baker.
Nice job by John Baker attacking hitters early, and a good tandem over there with Tolia making his first start at first base. That 3-1 or 1-3 combo is always going to be crucial. Bake hustling over to the bag to make the play.
Hyannis coming off a 7-7 tie with YD. First pitch ball this time to Matthew Barefoot. That game was back on Thursday down at Red Wilson Field. There's the 1-0 to Barefoot. Popped out in foul territory, a 1-1 count. Hyannis once led in that game 7-4, but then YD ended up scoring 3 unanswered runs before the game had to be suspended due to darkness in the 8th inning. So that was a 7-7 tie. The last matchup for Hyannis. Here comes strike 2, pinned on the inside corner, a 1-2 count for John Baker. The Kettleers on a 2-game skid, an 8-1 home loss to Wareham earlier this week, and then Thursday 17-7. Here's the 1-2 inside, ball 2. That was a 17-7 loss to Falmouth. Michael Tolia, the story of the game offensively for the Kettleers. 2 home runs, but just too much offense from Falmouth. Here's the 2-2. Swung on, a chopper through on the left side. It gets past Ryan Reynolds. Matthew Barefoot, a base hit. He's going to try for 2. Now decides against it. Throw back to first. He slides in front of the throw, and Matthew Barefoot on with the first base hit of the ball game.
Well, not a surprise there. Barefoot, who's been batting a scorching hot 361 clip, extending his hitting streak there to 12 games now. What a surprise he's been in the Hyannis lineup out of Campbell University, settling in nicely in Chad Gassman's number 3 spot in the batting order.
Matthew Barefoot, one of the hottest players on the Cape. Here's Trevor Hauver now out of Arizona State. He takes a first pitch strike on the outside corner from John Baker. So as Sam said, now a 12-game hit streak for Matthew Barefoot. His .361 batting average. He's one of 3 Hyannis Harbor Hawks that are top 10 in the Cape League in batting average. The 0-1 to Hauver, just a bit outside, a 1-1 count. So the 17-7 loss last time out, that was on Thursday for the Kettleers. Of course, Coach Roberts, as you heard in the pregame interview, unhappy with his team's performance. The 1-1 comes in on the outside corner, called for strike 2. He said that baseball is a game that'll humble you real quick, and he recognized his team was humbled. But they'll try to come back strong today against a division foe. 1-2 count, 2 outs, man on first. Baker set at the stretch. He steps off with a turn towards first. Top of the first inning here at Lowell Park. Still no score. It's Trevor Hauver out of Arizona State, right fielder, hitting at a .257 clip this season. Baker, pickoff attempt, but Barefoot back in time. So John Baker out of Ball State, 6'3", 207, a junior coming from Fenton, Michigan, and he has certainly been the ace of the staff for the Kettleers. As he shakes off a couple signals from Humphreys, likes the third one. Now here's the 1-2 pitch. Runner going, it's fouled off. And we'll do it again with Matthew Barefoot going back to first. These two teams trending in somewhat opposite directions right now. Of course, the Kettleers will look to turn the tide, but they're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Hyannis, just the opposite, 6-3-1 in their last 10. And they're second in the West. So Hauver set. John Baker out of the stretch with a 1-2 count and 2 outs. Again, a pickoff attempt. He throws towards Tolia, but Barefoot back in time. Baker stares into the zone, shakes off another signal, then nods the second one. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Hauver. And for the 3rd straight time, he goes with the pickoff attempt. But Matthew Barefoot slides in safe. A righty-heavy lineup for Hyannis today. John Baker's been much better this year against right-handers. .269 are what righties are hitting against him with 16 Ks. Lefties, .353. The 1-2 is high. And now 2 ball, 2 strike count to Trevor Hauver. Kettleers in the home whites, pearly whites with the maroon pinstripes. Block Kettleers across the front in maroon. Another pickoff attempt for Baker. Hyannis in the traveling royal blue uniforms with an orange script Hyannis across the front, a line under it, and then the number tucked on to the right. Oversized orange numerals on the back in orange trimmed with white. Here's the 2-2 from Baker. Swung on a chopper that goes off the foot of John Baker and rolls to Corey Wood at second. He doesn't even have a throw to first. Trevor Hauber reaches there with an infield single. And now with 2 outs in the first, no score. Hyannis has runners aboard, first and second.
I hope John Baker's okay after that pitch. That was a sharp little comebacker on the ground that got him right on the front of the toe. Not sure if it was his right toe on the follow-through or his left foot, which is his foot strike, the lead foot, as a right-hander on the mound. Either way, it looks like he's okay and going to stay in this ball game.
So here's Pedro Pages now, the catcher out of Florida Atlantic. Runners on first and second for Hyannis. John Baker looking to keep them silent. Here's the first pitch to Pages. Right down the pipe, strike one, 88-mile-an-hour fastball from Baker. You're not going to see him blow away these hitters with his velocity. But the rhythm, the first pitch strikes, the location, that's what he'll beat you with. 0-1 the count. Baker looks back at Barefoot. He's got a lead at second. Here's the pitch to Pages, and it's slapped foul. Behind the backstop, and the count runs to 0-2, advantage John Baker. So Hyannis 12-7-2 this season, but they're minus 21 run differential, second worst in the Cape, behind just the Brewster Whitecaps. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Baker against Pages. Here's the pitch. It trails outside. That's ball 1.
That's what makes baseball such a funny game, right? You can have a net run differential of minus 21 and still be a winning ball club like that.
Here's the 1-2 from Baker. Swung on, a little tapper back to Baker. Steps off the mound, grabs it, throws to first in time for out number 3. So 2 runners aboard for Hyannis, but they can't do anything with it. Still no score heading into the home half of the first here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. No score. We're in the bottom of the first between the Harbor Hawks and the Kettleers. Here's Jordan Fowler, the Ole Miss Rebel, a lefty standing at 6'3", 160. He's warming up for the Harbor Hawks to face off against Mike Roberts' Kettleer lineup. It's been shaken up a little bit, and here's what it looks like today. Duke Ellis, the center fielder out of Texas, bats leadoff. In the 2-hole, Will Robertson, he's in right field. Batting third and at first is Michael Tolia. In the cleanup spot, Thomas Dillard at DH. Batting fifth and at third is Ryan Reynolds. Then in the 6-hole, Peyton Burdick, he's in left. Corey Wood at second, Mike Salvatore at short, and Zach Humphreys at catcher round things out for the Kettleers to face off against Fowler, who's got a 1-1 record this season, 7.44 ERA in his 3 starts. His last one was an ugly start back on June 30th against the Wareham Gatemen. There have been 2 games this season in which one team has scored 17 runs. One was here at Lowell Park on Thursday, and one was this game. Fowler lasted only 2 innings and a third, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, but of course, 17 runs in that game for Wareham, so most of the damage was done against the Harbor Hawk bullpen. And now here's Duke Ellis, center fielder out of Texas, who's 3 for 7 on the young season. Just recently joined us at the end of last week. And he's batting leadoff for the first time today. Will Robertson typically in the leadoff spot, and he's been excellent, but Mike Roberts vowing to shake things up. So here's the first pitch from Fowler to Ellis, who shows bunt but pulls it back in time to take the pitch high for ball 1. The battery mate for Jordan Fowler playing at catcher is Pedro Pages. The infield, Davis Wenzel at third, as the 1-0 comes into Ellis. Fastball down the pipe taken for strike one. Will Holland at shortstop, Braden Como at second, and Brady Lindsley is at first. In the outfield, Matthew Barefoot in left, Tommy Jew in center, and Trevor Hauver in right. The 1-1. Fouled straight back with a clink off the backstop, and it's a 1-2 count for Duke Ellis. We're in the bottom of the first, no score. Third meeting of the season between Hyannis and Cotuit. Fowler comes set, he kicks and deals. Breaking ball that drops into the zone, a called strike three. 1 up, 1 down for Jordan Fowler as he rings up Duke Ellis. So now it's Will Robertson, another lefty, going up against the southpaw in Fowler. Robertson out of Creighton, 273 hitter on the season, 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in. He's gotten on base in 17 of the 18 games he's played in this season. First pitch to him, a rocket grounder right to the shortstop, Will Holland. He sends a routine throw to first, and that's quick 2 outs. The Kettleers this season offensively have struggled at times, especially in the first inning, to get things going. 12 out of the 20 games the Kettleers have played this season, they've gone down 1-2-3 in the first inning, and now it's up to Michael Tolia to try and reverse the tide there. Tolia switch-hitting first baseman, going lefty against the southpaw Fowler, who steps in, kicks and fires. It's ball 1 in the dirt, a 1-0 count for Michael Tolia.
Tolia's performance against the Falmouth Commodores in that 17-7 loss was so impressive. It was great to see him break out of his slump, display the power that he's revered for. 2 home runs, and he's looking to continue that success.
Here's the 1-0. He sends a chopper foul off to the third base side. It's a 1-1 count. Those 2 home runs for Tolia back on Thursday came in back-to-back innings. One in the 4th that drove in 2 runs, one in the 5th. Of course, the Kettleers got blown out, but still 7 runs from the offense on 9 hits. It was encouraging from that perspective. Here's the 1-1 to Tolia. He sends a little tapper foul that hit off either his foot or his ankle.
I think it got home plate.
It's 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. On a beautiful day here at Lowell Park. Sunny skies, 70 degrees. Just a little breeze going out at 9 miles per hour, but right now totally still. And here's the 1-2 from Fowler to Tolia. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Jordan Fowler, 3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts, and we have no score through an inning of play here at Lowell Park. We'll be back with the top of the second right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Locked in a 0-0 tie. And it's John Baker back on for the second inning. No runs allowed on 2 hits in the first. And he sends in a first pitch strike to Seth Gray. So in this inning, it'll be the 6, 7, 8 hitters, Seth Gray, Brady Lindsley, Will Holland. Second pitch to Gray, cracked a grounder On the left side, the third baseman Reynolds is there, throws to first and gets a quick out, number 1. That was Seth Gray, the Wright State Raider, going down. His teammate in college is the 6-hitter today for Cotuit. So both 6-hitters are Wright State Raiders, and Seth Gray and Peyton Burdick for the Kettleers. Now here comes Brady Lindsley out of Oklahoma. First baseman today, a native of Norman, Oklahoma, so I guess he was born and raised to be a Sooner. And the lefty sets to face off against Baker. He kicks and fires, and Lindsley sends a little fair foul. Off to the third base side, it's an 0-1 count, 1 out here in the second inning. So Baker now kicks and fires. It's a breaking ball high, ball 1. Here's the 1-1 with 1 out. High chopper to second base. Corey Wood charges in, makes a nice scoop, and an on-target throw to Michael Tolia for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down so far for John Baker. That was the same narrative in the first before a pair of singles to Matthew Barefoot and Trevor Hauver. But we'll see if once again John Baker can get out of it. And he'll face off against Will Holland out of Auburn. This is just the second at-bat of the season for Holland. He just recently came to the Cape. He was previously a Team USA guy. 0 for 1 on the season with a strikeout, and he takes a first pitch swing and a miss. 0-1 count for Will Holland out of Auburn. Certainly one of the better talents here on this Hyannis team. Made major improvement from freshman to sophomore year down on the plains. 0-1 to him is outside, ball 1. Holland's freshman season, he had just 209 with 3 home runs and 46 total bases, but last year as a sophomore, a .313 hitter, 12 dingers, and 132 total bases. Now here's ball 2 outside. So improving his batting average by over 100 points. And he's come on as one of the best young infielders in the country. He steps in a low stance. Here's the 2-1 from Baker. It's high at the letters, ball 3. We're in the top of the second, no score between the Kettleers and the Harbor Hawks. The first matchup of these two teams was back on June 15th here at Lowell Park. That was a 4-1 win for Hyannis. 3-1 comes in. It's rocketed foul and the count runs full. The next matchup was just the next week, June 19th at Hyannis. A 10-4 win for Cotuit. That was a game in which we saw back-to-back home runs from Thomas Dillard and Zach Bierman on back-to-back pitches. So full count, 2 outs, no one on. Here comes the pitch from Baker. Swing and a miss, strike 3. John Baker brings him up, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Bake. Still no score. Heading into the home half of the second here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, no score between the Kettleers and Harbor Hawks. We're in the bottom of the second. Dillard, Reynolds, Burdick, 2 up for the Kettleers. Pleased to be joined by a special guest in the booth, Al Benjamin, a World War II veteran, threw out an excellent first pitch as a part of our Heroes in the Park celebration on this wonderful Saturday. How are you doing, Mr. Benjamin?
I'm doing great, great. I'm enjoying every bit of it.
So tell us about your first pitch routine, because I understand this was a special scripted routine.
Well, it was unscripted, but it was there. You know, I knew I couldn't throw the ball 60 feet 6 inches, and I hoped I could throw it about 20 feet. So I jumped on the mound and decided I couldn't do it and went forward. So we finally did it after the 3rd try.
Now I noticed, Mr. Benjamin, a little miscommunication on the signs with Coach Roberts. You go over that beforehand, shook him off a couple of times.
A little bit. It was fun. It was really fun. So, okay.
So it's Thomas Dillard due up. He'll face off against Jordan Fowler. So, Mr. Benjamin, can you tell us a bit about your military background and your service?
Well, I joined the service when I was 18, and I went in as an aviation cadet, and eventually graduated as a navigator. I was assigned to a B-17 group, and we navigated a plane out of the middle of the country, and we took it all the way over to London, and then I never saw that plane again. You know, everybody has names on the plane. We took it over there, we had named it, and then it disappeared on us. Somebody else has it. But that was all right. I was assigned to a 384th Bomb Group, and I did 31 missions. I was shot down once over Belgium. I had a bailout of 10,000 feet, and I landed with these people with submachine guns surrounding me, and I didn't know if they were friendly or the Germans. And you want to talk about the game at all?
We got more important things to talk about. Thomas Dillard just drew a walk. Now it's Ryan Reynolds, but you can continue.
Okay, so and then I was shot down. I was surrounded by these people, and as I picked myself up off the ground, I found out that they were Belgian freedom fighters. The Germans were still in the area, so I was injured, so they took me to a farmhouse and hid me in the farmhouse, and then subsequently they brought me to the local hospital. And by that time, the next day, a day after, the Germans had pulled out of that area because the Americans were pulling up. And I was evacuated back to Paris, and eventually got back to my group, and I did 18 more missions after that.
Wow.
So I was a lucky guy because of the fact that if I jumped a minute before, I would have been a prisoner. And I knew that I was the navigator, and I knew where the friendly lines were, so I I told my pilot that if we could keep this thing going for just another minute, we'd all be safe. And he did, and we're safe, and then we jumped it. The plane was on fire, so as I jumped out, there was a big trail of smoke behind me. And it's quite a shock when you jump out, and I had a...
Dillard caught in a pickle here, but the throw spills into the outfield. Now Thomas Dillard may have a free pass to third. He slides in ahead of the throw, and now a runner at third for the Kettleers. So Thomas Dillard was off to steal, got caught in a pickle, but then a throwing error from Hyannis. Ball spills into the outfield. 380 feet there for Thomas Dillard.
Yeah. We got a man on third with no outs, right?
Yeah, pretty good situation if you ask me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm a real baseball fan. I watch all the Red Sox games.
Red Sox?
Oh, yeah. I watch 162 games every year. So my wife doesn't like that, but I go upstairs, she goes downstairs. So, but I've been watching the Red Sox. They're doing so well. And this is only the second time I've been over here. I've lived in Mashpee for 20 years.
And I understand the street you live on bears some connection to our team.
The street I live on is called Kettle Lane. So that's an interesting coincidence.
Swing and a miss that time from Ryan Reynolds, strike three. So one out, bottom of the second. Peyton Burdick coming up with a runner still at third. That's Thomas Dillard. We're here with World War II veteran Al Benjamin as a part of our Heroes in the Park celebration. Al threw out the first pitch today. So you're a lifelong baseball fan. Are you originally from Boston?
Oh, I was born in Dorchester.
Okay.
So I've been here. I used to go to the Braves games. There ago, the Braves were here in Boston.
Born Braves?
And it used to cost Boston Braves.
Boston Braves.
It used to cost a nickel to go to the game. They had this group called the Knothole Gang, and if you went to the local playground, you were enrolled in the Knothole Gang, and for a nickel you could go to the game. Now it was the Depression. Now, if you could, when finagle 25 cents from your parents, this is what you did. You took a nickel to go on the elevated railway. It was Boston Elevated Railway. That's the same as the MBTA now, and that would get you to the game. And for a nickel, you could buy a hot dog, and for a nickel, you could buy a Coke, and for a nickel, you could then, it cost you a nickel to get in the game, and a nickel to go home. So you spent the quarter for baseball only.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. All the kids did it in the neighborhood, and it was really fun. The old Knothole Gang.
So $1.75 for a week of baseball.
$1?
Not bad.
Yeah, you could. But you were in the bleachers by 2 games. You'd be brown as a berry.
Right. Was that all your? Were you a bleacher creature?
It was this deal was in the bleachers.
Okay. And what about Cape League games? Are you you said you've been to this park a couple times?
I think this is the second time I've been here. I can't watch the Red Sox and the Cape at the same time. Sorry.
So you have to have your priorities. Here's the 2-2 to Burdick, slapped in a left, a base hit.
1 run.
That'll score a run.
Right.
Here comes Dillard.
A nice clean single. Yes, sir.
A nice line drive there from Peyton Burdick. Kettleers tack on a run. It's 1-0. You're our good luck charm. How about that?
Well, stay here until we win. That's
exactly.
all.
You'll just sit right here and we'll go undefeated. So Kettleers lead 1-0. RBI single from Peyton Burdick. 1 out. Here comes Corey Wood with Burdick now at first. That was Thomas Dillard coming around to score. So, Mr. Benjamin, we were talking earlier about your military service. What is a lesson, one of the biggest lessons you would say you've learned from your time?
Well, I went in, I was 18 years old. I was just a child when I went in. And when I came out 3 years later, I was a man. And I am a firm proponent of military service for everybody. I think it would be nice if everybody did a couple of years of service and then got their college education free. Of course, I'm a liberal, so that's the way it is. But I think that would be very nice, and we'd have a nice military force. We'd be very strong, and we'd have a nice educational group to carry America forward. Right now oh, there he goes.
The runner going. That's Burdick. The throw to
got
second.
It. Hey.
He's safe.
Yep.
Peyton Burdick with the steal. Another runner in scoring position for the Kettleers. Corey Wood up with a 2-1 count.
What do we have? We have 2 umpires for the game? Three
umpires.
3 umpires.
We got the home plate umpire, third and first.
Yeah. And the guy from first moves over to second now at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sometimes, now Sam over here, my partner, is actually an expert on umpiring positions. Is this the B position?
I believe this is B position, right?
B position.
First
B
base
position.
umpire Joe Caraco is out there in B position. Although it's slightly different than what I'm normally accustomed to.
So you said you went into the military, you went in as a boy, and you came out as a man, and that was
exactly. And it stood me very well through my whole life, really, because I was strengthened, and here I am at 94, so I'm still going strong.
exactly throwing out a lovely
throwing
first
out
pitch.
the first ball and all.
That's not a bad
and
deal.
And my wife says I stand up straight, so that's important.
You do. Your posture's better than mine. It's a 2-2 count right now to Corey Wood. Peyton Burdick at second. Fake pickoff attempt. Burdick's back, of course. We're here with Al Benjamin, World War II veteran. So how much does it mean to you to have a day at Lowell Park commemorating?
I think this was very, very great of the Kettleers to do this. There are a lot of veterans in the area, and I don't know, during the first few years after the war, and especially after the Vietnam War, Vietnam's veterans were not recognized very much. But now it's changed completely. Wherever you go, people say, thank you for your service. I wear this little hat that says Army Air Corps on it. And this is the air medal. I have 5 air medals and the Purple Heart. And I have a French Legion of Honor. So. And it's not because I was a hero, it's just that I was doing my job.
Mike Salvatore sends a flare into right. That could
he
score
cut him
Burdick. And it does. 2-0 Kets.
Very good. Very good.
What'd you think of that one?
I don't think you should have cut it off, to tell you the truth. I think that if you let it go through, they would have got the guy at the plate.
It was just a little blooper into right. Bounced in front of the right fielder, Hauber. The throw was cut off by the first baseman, as Mr. Benjamin just said. Peyton Burdick scored. It's 2-0 Kettleers with a runner on first now. So we know you're a big Red Sox fan. Who's your favorite old-time Red Sox, and then who's your favorite current Red Sox?
I'm so old that I saw Babe Ruth play.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Live,
yeah,
in
live.
No. For the Red Sox or for the Yankees?
No, for the Boston Braves.
For the Boston Braves, right.
At the end of his career. Another hit. Oh, he's in.
Throw to third, not in time. A double from Zach Humphreys. That was a
second
nice
and third.
little liner into left field.
Second and third. Isn't that?
You're really the good luck charm for the Kettleers.
I think I'm going to volunteer for your job next year.
You think so? I would love that. You offered us good luck and great analysis. Couldn't be better. So you saw the great Bambino play
I saw
in the
great
flesh.
Bambino.
Tell us what that was like.
I saw Ted Williams play, Bobby
Wow.
Doerr. I've seen everybody play over the years. It's really something. And to tell you the truth, I like baseball over TV better than I do going to the park.
Really?
The only thing I miss when you go to the park is the hot dogs. You miss the hot dogs. But the baseball is better when you can see it on TV. You see every play. You see replays. You see everything you need to see. It's very exciting.
You get the best seat in the house when you have
Best
access
seat
to all
in the
those
house,
cameras,
but
right?
You don't hear the noise and you don't get the hot dogs and the smell. Got to have a baseball smell.
So what was it like watching Babe Ruth? What was he like back in the day on the
Well,
Braves?
he was, and that was the end of his career. He was just,
Okay.
he was just a place taker. So they thought, the Braves were pretty sick of those years, and they thought that having him there would bring a few people in, which they probably did, just to watch him. But the great home run hitter of my era was Jimmy Fox. He was the great home run hitter of my era on the Red Sox. He hit, I think, 58 home runs one year.
Really?
And Ruth hit 60.
It's Duke Ellis.
He's taking his time.
Certainly taking the sweet time. The 1-2 to Ellis outside ball 2. What about the modern day Red Sox? You mentioned they're playing well. Are you a Mookie fan? Xander
Mookie, I
Bogaerts?
love Mookie. Every time Mookie gets up, we know something's going to happen. It's
Right.
really wonderful. And the pitching is great this year, And, everything is great.
Chris Sale.
Chris Sale, Chris Sale, he was really wonderful. That day before yesterday. Or yesterday, whatever it was. I think it was yesterday. The relief corps is a little bit light, but they'll fix it up, I guess.
What was it
I
like
think
for you in 04 when you broke that big drought?
Oh, that was the year. Most people said I'm going to go to my grave without ever seeing the Red Sox win a pennant, and that's how it was. You never saw them. I mean, I started watching baseball when I was about 4 years old, and that was in 1928. And I went to Fenway Park when they called it New Fenway Park. When Tom Yawkey bought it, he refurbished it. And they called it New Fenway Park. And now it's Old Fenway Park.
A little grounder foul. It's Duke Ellis at the plate, 2 outs. He's got a full count. Mike Salvatore's at third. Humphreys is at second. It's been a good luck inning for the Kettleers. They lead at 2-0 here in the bottom of the second. And now you've gotten to see 3 world championships in the last decade.
Right. That's right. And never thought it would happen. And we got a chance to see a 4th one this year.
You think so? What do you think
Well,
the
it's going to be
chances
really
are?
close. Those damn Yankees are there, You can't get rid of them. Are you a Bostonian?
I'm not. I'm from Chicago, so I'm a fan of the other Sox.
You're a fan of the White Sox?
I'm a White Sox fan.
all right.
Duke Ellis draws a walk back on the field, so bases loaded, 2 outs for Will Robertson.
How about you? Are you a Bostonian?
No.
No. Okay.
And he's a Reds fan.
Oh, yeah.
So, hey, if you put ours, Reds, Sox, Red Sox.
Yeah, right. There you
Do
go.
some baseball math right
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of the other Sox.
Yeah.
We gave you Chris Sale.
Well, one of my sons lived in Chicago for a while. He went to Northwestern Law.
Okay.
And he was a White Sox fan at the time.
I'm assuming it was back around 2005?
Earlier than that.
Okay. So what do you think of the atmosphere at the park today? What are you seeing
I
down
love
here
it.
for the
I love the
Kettleers?
atmosphere at the park. It's really great. I don't know why we don't get a bigger crowd. We need a big public relations campaign here.
This is a pretty good crowd.
You think so?
I believe the Kettleers are second on the Cape in
Is that right?
attendance.
Yeah.
So certainly relative to the other teams.
Well, Falmouth seems to draw pretty good too.
They do?
Yeah.
They do?
I saw a couple. Ooh.
Oh, Robertson gets hit by a pitch. That'll send a run home with the bases loaded.
Oh my goodness gracious.
3-0 Kettleers.
Yeah. know, you're going to be stuck with me here for the rest of the day.
It's going to be a 2-hour inning right here. So now a mound visit for Jordan Fowler. Base is still loaded for the Kets. Zach Humphreys at third. Duke Ellis at second. Will Robertson, who was just hit by a pitch at first. The Kettleers have scored 3 runs in this inning. An RBI single from Peyton Burdick, RBI single from Mike Salvatore. And then Will Robertson was just hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. It's 3-0. What are you seeing?
Isn't that a guy getting ready to warm
Going
up?
to the bullpen.
Yeah, the guy getting ready to warm up down there? 35.
That's Zach Cohn, right-hander out of Central Michigan, taking the long walk down to the bullpen. Maybe we'll get a look at him later in the game. And we're here with Al Benjamin, who threw out a great first pitch today. So did you play baseball back in the day? I know you're a lifelong fan.
I'll tell you, when I was in the service, you know, they used to, during World War II, what was left of the teams used to barnstorm around all the air bases. And I was the first baseman on the Randolph Field team in 1945. And the Red Sox came to town, and we played against them, and I got 1 hit. Yeah.
So you played against?
I played against a big league pitcher.
The actual Red Sox?
1 hit.
Wow.
The actual Red Sox. No, I had not really. During the wartime, they weren't actual. They were all substitutes.
Right, but they were wearing the Red Sox
uniforms. But they were wearing the Red Sox
uniforms.
uniform, right. Yeah. I hit a little ball over the second baseman's head. Just perfect.
A little line drive.
A little line drive over the baseman's head. It's the only time.
So you can always take that with you. You have a hit against
right.
the Red Sox.
I'm a big league hitter.
The 1-0 is crushed into center. Back to the wall, and it stays in the park. Catch from the center fielder, Tommy Chu. And that'll end the inning, but 3 runs on 3 hits for the Kettleers. And thank you so much for joining us. You were our good luck charm.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you.
That was Al Benjamin. And it's 3-0 Kettleers heading into the third. We'll be back with the third here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Ready to begin the third inning of play here at Lowell Park, and it's the Kettleers with a 3-0 lead over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. A 3 spot in that last inning for Cotuit. RBI single from Peyton Burdick, an RBI single from Mike Salvatore, and then a hit batsman in Will Robertson with the bases loaded, giving the Kettleers a 3-run home advantage here. John Baker still on the mound, the right-hander facing 9, 1, and 2 in the Hyannis lineup, starting with Tommy Jew, the center fielder out of Santa Barbara. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Baker. Strike called at the knees, and he's ahead in the count 0-2. Happy to have you with us, and a special thank you again to Mr. Al Benjamin, World War II veteran at 94 years old, joining us today for Heroes in the Park at Lowell Park, honoring all active and retired military. Thank all of those for their sacrifice and their service for our great country. Mr. Benjamin throwing out the first pitch today and joining us in the broadcast booth with some great storytelling in the last inning. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief. 3-0 Cotuit here in the top of the third inning. A 2-2 count to Tommy Jew as John Baker winds up. He delivers the 2-2, swung on and missed. And Bake sits down the batter on strikes, his second strikeout of the day, and there's one down here in the third.
John Baker looking good, and now he's got those 3 runs at his back. That was a really nice inning for the Kettleers. Peyton Burdick with a frozen rope into left to drive in a run, and then just to see the hits keep coming early in the game. That's been the theme for the Kettleers, is taking a while to warm up into the game, but that time, certainly a quick start.
Davis Wenzel, the leadoff man, steps in with 1 out and nobody on. Baker catches the outside corner with a fastball to even up the count on Wenzel, 1-1. Wenzel flying out to right field his first time up. Here's a 1-1 from Bake. Fastball runs upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Kettleers with 3 in that second inning to give them the advantage here at home. John Baker has not been a subject of much run support in a couple of his outings this year, as Wenzel pops one high in the air on the right side of the infield. Corey Wood will make the catch right before the grass, and that's the second out of the inning. Baker in his 2 losses in terms of decisions this year. He's 2-2 with a 2.34 ERA coming into today's start. The 2 losses, he's only been given 1 run in each game from his team. A 4-1 loss against Bourne in his second start, and a 6-1 loss against YD in his last start. However, in his wins, he's been very effective in every start. He got a 10-run outing from Brewster, or against Brewster on opening day, and then 6 runs supported to him against Chatham. He's up against the number 2 hitter in Braden Como here, an 0-2 count with 2 outs here in the third. 3-0, Kettleers on top. Baker's 0-2, way upstairs with a hard fastball at 91, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So we saw the Kettleers bottom of the order get it going in the last frame. Burdick and Salvatore all doing a nice job, even Humphreys with the double. There's a line drive straight into deep center from Como, straight over the head of Duke Ellis, and that one will roll all the way to the wall in center field. Braden Como launches that one for a 2-out double.
A few times this season, the Kettleers have been burned by 2-out hitting. In some of the recent games, that was a really nice one over the head of Duke Ellis. It looked like at first Ellis thought he was going to be able to make the play where he was and then had to back up a little late. And with Matthew Barefoot now, Baker has to be very careful with his spots.
Barefoot, the best hitter in the Hyannis order, leading the club with a .361 batting average, extending his hitting streak to 12 with a single back in the first. Baker's first pitch to him, fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. A 2-out base runner, and Braden Como with the double. He's on second base. Kettleers up by 3 in the third inning. Como on second and Barefoot at the plate. Baker comes set. Here's his 0-1 from the stretch. In there, a nice slider. Called for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Kettleers at home today in the home white uniforms. The pinstripes trimmed in maroon. Hyannis in the road blues trimmed in orange. Foul ball from Barefoot. Breaking pitch from Baker there. Still an 0-2 count. Good crowd on hand here at Lowell Park. Third base side, filled up to the brim. Lots of lawn seats as well down the line. There's a swing and a miss on the 0-2 pitch. Baker jams Barefoot. He's unable to connect. And there's a third strikeout of the day for John Baker, and the third out of this third inning. We head to the middle of the third. No runs on 1 hit and a man left for Hyannis. Kettleers coming to the plate, up by 3-0 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Bottom of the third inning, and the Kettleers back at the plate with a 3-0 advantage over Hyannis. It's Dillard, Reynolds, and Burdick to lead things off here against the left-hander Jordan Fowler. Whips in a first pitch fastball that's fouled back by Dillard, an 0-1 count. Dillard walked in the second inning and eventually came around to score on Burdick's RBI single. Part of the 3-run second that's given the Kettleers a home advantage. Fowler's 0-1. High and away, check swing appeal by Dillard. Not there, according to first base umpire Joe Caraco, and it's 1-1. Fowler, the left-hander out of Ole Miss, out of the windup, and Dillard tags this ball high in the air, deep to center field. That ball is gone. Thomas Dillard leads things off here in the third with a solo home run, the second of the season for Dillard. He strikes big time to give the Kettleers a 4-0 lead.
So not only does he give the Kettleers a 4-zip lead, but getting a home run against his college teammate in Jordan Fowler. Talk about bragging rights. Dillard certainly has that there, and what a shot from Thomas Dillard. Kettleer offense looks good today.
Kettleers coming out of the gate aggressive early. It's Dillard with the solo home run to make it 4-0 Cotuit here in the bottom of the third inning. There's a first pitch strike to Ryan Reynolds as Fowler, the Ole Miss teammate of Dillard, unable to set him down there, and Dillard wins in the biggest of ways with the home run. They gave him the silent treatment in the dugout. Everybody kind of shunned him off as he came back after trotting around the base paths, and everybody bursts out in celebration. Good energy from the Kettleers dugout today early. 0-2 from Reynolds, tapped over to short. Holland charging in, throws on the run for the first out of the inning.
That's something that's really good to see from this Kettleer team after getting embarrassed the last 2 games here at Lowell Park. Mike Roberts made a big effort to emphasize focus, concentration, camaraderie as a team, and it's good to see them acting as a really good team in the dugout, and the results have shown with an early 4-0 lead.
You hear some chirping, you hear some noise, a lot of enthusiasm down there on that third base Kettleer dugout. 1 out here in the bottom of 3. Dillard's solo home run to lead off the inning has the Kettleers up by 4. Peyton Burdick, the batter at the plate now with an 0-1 count on Fowler. 1 out in the inning. Left-hander winds up and delivers as Bird chops one back foul, 0-2. Saw a good swing from Bird in his first at-bat. That RBI single that gave Cotuit a 1-0 lead in the second. Right through the left side of the infield, a hard-hit ball. Open batting stance for Bird. As here's the 0-2 from Fowler. Breaking pitch, grounded towards short once again. Routine for Holland, who zips it on to first. 2 down here in the third. So 2 consecutive 6-3 putouts, and Jordan Fowler's starting to brush off that leadoff home run for Thomas Dillard. And Corey Wood will come to the plate. Batting from the left side, struck out his first time up. He was 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored against Falmouth on Thursday. Fowler's first pitch to him is a curveball that nips the outside corner for strike 1. Shadows on third base in the infield. Davis Wenzel is the third baseman for Hyannis. Fowler's 0-1 upstairs, 1 ball and a strike to Wood. Wenzel, easy to point out. He's got that lumberjack beard and long locks of hair.
What did we say? He was like Justin Turner.
Yes.
Dodgers third baseman.
The 1-1, Wood fouls it off hard out of play towards the left side.
Pretty much a carbon copy of him. The beard, the hair, and also the way he plays a power-hitting third baseman. I'm telling you, next Justin Turner, I think the Dodgers should take a good look at him when Turner gets too old.
Where's Turner from? 1-2 is outside on Wood. That'll even the count 2-2 because Wenzel at Baylor University from Waco, Texas, which, by the way, same place where Chip and Joanna are from in terms of HGTV. We were talking about that the other day.
Oh, yeah, you're a little
They're big
guilty
Baylor
pleasure.
people. Yeah. The 2-2 to Wood, outside again with a fastball, and the count runs full.
Justin Turner's from Long Beach, California. He went to Cal State Fullerton.
Very good stuff. California, Texas, good baseball states. Full count offering to Wood. Called strike 3, a fastball that hits the outside corner, and Fowler gets out of the inning with a punch out. But the Kettleers tack on another. Thomas Dillard, his second home run of the season, a solo shot to start things off as the Kettleers hold a 4-0 edge as we head to the 4th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. We begin the 4th inning of play with the Kettleers up 4-0 on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Happy to have you with us today. Sam Niederman, Sam Brief, and now another guest in our broadcast booth for the first time in the 2018 season, Mr. Pete Flaherty, one of our MLB liaisons and GM in turn here with the Cotuit Kettleers. Pete, great to have you up here in the booth, my friend.
Thanks for having me on. You guys do a great job.
Thank you, sir. It'll be Hauver, Pages, and Gray against John Baker on the mound for Hyannis here. As Bake's first pitch is roped into right field. That is a leadoff single for Trevor Hauver. So how about these Kettleers today, Pete? Looking pretty good early.
Great energy. You know, see the dugout a little rowdy today, bringing some good energy. Bomb from Dillard his first of the year. You love to see that. So as long as we can get the bats going, I think we're going to have a fun season.
They did for Dillard?
I think it was a silent treatment, maybe kind of ripping on him a little bit for going to Omaha. Hasn't hit any bombs down here. You know, it's good to get his first one out of the way, so it's good stuff.
That thing was crushed. It was a no-doubter.
It was smoked.
Next batter is Pedro Pages with a man on here in the 4th. First pitch strike from John Baker with a breaking ball. How about Bake? He's just been impressive all year long.
He's been filling it up. You know, that's the key, is just throwing strikes. I mean, he's filling up the zone, getting ahead of hitters, and he's been able to just spot up all his pitches. He's not a big velo guy, but he's kind of shown you don't need to light up the radar gun to be successful down here.
Now, you're around the scouts all the time. They always look for velocity. I heard one of the gentlemen down there asking about that. How hard does he throw? Is that kind of a lost art, you think, these days, or are the scouts just all about can you light up the radar gun?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, if you got a guy like John Baker who throws strikes like he does and just gets out, I mean, he simply just gets it done. It's cliche, but he just goes out there, takes care of business, and gets it done. I think they look for that a lot more. He keeps his composure well. I think that's just like another cliche. It's just a piece of good control, velocity is another. So I think they're more exciting.
That's the key thing. As long as you throw strikes, you're always going to have a chance. Pages popped out to the third baseman Reynolds, so one down in the inning. Hauver's still on first base after the leadoff single, and here's Seth Gray, who's got a 1-0 count on Baker. Kettleers up 4-0. Joining us in the booth right now, Pete Flaherty, GM intern here with the Cotuit Kettleers, and this is something we were planning, trying to get one of the inside sources of Kettleers baseball up here. He's in and around the ballpark 9 to 9 every day. Is that about accurate?
That's pretty accurate, yeah. I'll get here around 9:15. if we have a home game the night before, I'll clean up from last night's game, start in the bathroom.
Good pick over to first from Bake, however, not able to get Hauber, who dives back in safely.
Yeah, so I'll clean the bathroom, sweep the dugouts, get it ready for the guys, make sure the park's looking picturesque and pristine, as Roy likes to say.
As it always is.
As it always is. And then I'll help with whatever the coaches might need. Just kind of extra set of hands, extra set of ears, just into the body, just
You have a really close relationship, I know, with Coach Roberts.
Yeah. I'd probably consider him like a second dad to me. I've been coming to Cotuit since I was, for as long as I could remember. And I was at my first Kettleers game, I think, when I was 3. And I remember meeting Coach Roberts for the first time around that same period. And I've just been coming up, working with him back when I played baseball. Nice pitch. Just kind of grew up around the game and grew up around him, and he became sort of a mentor to me. And you know, got his contact info, would stay in touch over the winter, call him constantly, and that's how I got to be where I am now.
I love it. And now, are you aspiring to be a coach or a scout one day in pro baseball? Is that what you want to get into?
I'd like to work just anywhere in pro baseball, any team, any system, and just any location. I'd go anywhere. Just to get my foot in the door somewhere and hopefully grind my way up to the eventual goal is a GM. So
I love it.
that's the eventual goal.
Talent
I
evaluate.
want you running my team.
Yeah, you got
I
my vote, man.
appreciate it.
Oh, I love
I
it.
own a team one day. which
Oh.
I won't. I would want you running my team.
Oh, I appreciate that.
When we're broadcasting for a team one day, we'll put in a good word,
Oh, if
hopefully.
I'm
We
a
can
GM,
all
you guys
be
are my
back
broadcasters.
together.
Pete might
Back
be the
together.
GM to hire me.
Yes, that could be your call.
If I ever get to that point, I'm bringing you two on as a tandem package deal.
Love it.
Oh,
And then
that's
Mason
great.
is the field reporter.
Yes. There's a line shot into left field from Brady Lindsley, and that's tracked down out there by Peyton Burdick, and that's the final out of the inning. So John Baker working around a leadoff base hit, and he sits down the Hyannis Harbor Hawks as we head to the middle of the fourth. Still 4-0 Cotuit. Pete Flaherty will be back with us in the home half of the fourth, coming up next here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park, bottom of the fourth inning. Cotuit up 4-0 on Hyannis. It's Salvatore, Humphreys, and then Ellis to lead things off here. 8-9-1 for the Kettleers. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief. And then our good friend Pete Flaherty, GM, intern here for the Cotuit Kettleers. He's been here all summer, very close to the Cotuit organization. Happy to have him in the booth for another fourth inning as Salvi will start things off against Jordan Fowler, the left-hander. First pitch is a breaking ball that dips down in the zone for a called strike one. So, Pete, you were telling us earlier in between innings that you have an unconventional ballpark taste because we're heading to White House Field tomorrow at Harwich for the first time.
We are. I think it just differs from a lot of people. You have a lot of people who say Betts Field and Chatham, which is beautiful. But I'll obviously stick with Lowell Park at 1. And Harwich might sneak into the 2 spot for me. I just think a good ambiance. And then I'll stick with the East and go Orleans and Brewster at 3 and 4 respectively. And then actually YD at 5 because it reminds me a little bit of Lowell Park with the no lights, kind of the classic setup, the trees. Yeah. And then Chatham 6, not because I don't like it, just I actually think a lot of the parks in the league are really nice.
Interesting, as there's a pop-up from Salvatore to second base. Caught by Como. There's one down here in the bottom of the fourth. Here comes Zach Humphreys. So you like YD? I like YD too.
It's not bad, you know. Like, you gotta get the donut burger, not because you think you're gonna like it, but it's just a rite of passage, you know.
Sure, sure.
I think I got the sinker.
Well, yeah, we
The
had
glazed
you on
donut.
Yeah.
You gave a seething description of the service.
It was all right. It was the service. If I were giving a Yelp review, I'm a generous reviewer, so I'll give them 3.5 stars. It just took a while. I ordered it in the top of the third, and I got it in the bottom of the fourth. I don't like to miss a lot of game action, so that's a big knock on them. But
And that's a lot of time to rethink whether you want to do it. You know,
Oh, I know.
You step in, you say, I want the donut burger, but then you got to wait 30 minutes. You're like, do I really
there
want
was a time about like 7 or 8 minutes in, and I was like, is this worth it? Like, what am I doing this for? But, but you know, it came. I took a bite. Was it worth it? Sure. It was all right. But yeah, no. I love YD.
3-0 count on Humphreys. There's a called strike on the outside corner from Fowler. One down here in the bottom of 4. Kettleers up by 4. Pete Flaherty with us in the booth. So you played baseball at, was it Belmont Hill? I see you
Hill.
repping the gill.
Oh, yeah.
Or the gear for the hill.
Yeah. It's a big. Oh.
There's a line drive high in the air to left field from Humphreys. That ball is gone.
Yeah.
Home run. Zach Humphreys, home run. A solo shot here in the bottom of the 4th. And the Kettleers add to their lead, 5-0. Zach Humphreys, how about that?
He's one of the nicest, most hardworking kids on the team. And it's awesome to see him get it going today. I think he's going to keep it rolling, this whole lineup especially.
He swung the ball. I mean, that double he had back in the last inning was good. That was a good swing there.
That was just a hustle double. You know, it's kind of a bit sort of hard down the line, but he actually has sneaky speed for a catcher.
So here's Duke Ellis with one out, and the base is cleared as Humphreys makes it a 5-0 Cotuit game. Now, how about Humphreys? He's swinging the bat well.
He's starting to come around. This whole lineup's starting to come around. The weather's getting nicer. Our full team is here for the most part, and guys are just swinging the sticks top to bottom. You know, you saw it with Falmouth. It's hard to take a bright spot out of that game. You let up 17 runs. You don't play the best defensively. But I think that was the first game we saw, you know, top to bottom. A lot of guys swung the bat well. Counted out, I think, 10 hits, 7 runs. That 5-run 4th inning was definitely a bright spot. You saw Salvatore and Reynolds both driving a couple runs. So, you know, I think they're going to start to put it together and have a really good second half.
You've been around the Cape League, so you know kind of what stretches are the most important. Are we in it right now? Is July the pivotal month?
We're in it right now. After the 4th of July, you get a lot of interdivisional matchups. You know, we'll see Hyannis, Bourne, Falmouth a lot. If you can win those games, you'll be in a really good spot for the playoffs.
1-2 pitch fouled off by Ellis here. He stays alive.
That's definitely been one of the things. I mean, the Kettleers have had so much success against the East, 7-4, but just 2-6-1 against the West. So it seems like it's time to start getting those important wins.
Definitely. I think it's going to start tonight. I have a great feeling about this one.
They're off to a good start. Kettleers are up 5-0. The solo home run from Humphreys to deep left field. His first home run of the season.
Oh, yeah.
He only has 2 home runs in his college career. He had none last season at TCU.
There's a breaking ball that goes behind Duke Ellis.
It hit his bat. He fouled it off.
Unlucky.
Oh, it hit off the end of his bat.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Foul ball off of Ellis's bat. That breaking ball went behind him, and it got the end of his bat on the way out. So still a 1-2 count rather than a hit batsman or just a ball that goes to the backstop for ball 2.
That was the first time I've seen that this season. First time I've seen that in a few seasons.
1-2 from Fowler's in the dirt. That's something that you see in the Little League where the kids duck out of the way, but they keep the bat up.
They duck out, but they don't move their hands, and so their bat's just right here, and it just clings off.
Oh, man. 2-2 to Ellis. He misses outside. It's 3-2 now, the count.
He's been grinding out at bats all night. I think this is his second at bat where he's gotten to a full count.
Yeah, he worked a walk back in the second. Could do the same here. Wind up in the pitch from Fowler, misses high and away, and there it is, right on cue. Duke Ellis is second base on balls of the day, and he'll give the Kettleers a 1-out base runner here in the bottom of 4. So Will Robertson will step in, and here's another guy that's really lit it up early on for the Kets.
Oh yeah, he's been turning up. He came in on a temp contract. He was signed to a full contract, I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago on point streak. But he definitely deserves it. I think he's hitting around 300, maybe 290. But I mean, he's one of the guys down on the track, man. He lights up, like exit velo wise. I can't say it, but because I get in trouble. But he's been smoking the ball.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, for our listeners and viewers at home that aren't familiar, the TrackMan, give them the lowdown on that technology.
All right, so basically TrackMan is almost...
There's a ground ball down through the right side and into right field for a base hit from Robertson. Ellis speeding around second. He'll go first to third. Robertson sliding into second. He advances an extra bag on the throw. Will Robertson with a base hit. And now the Kettleers with second and third and only one out here in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, so going back to TrackMan, I like to think of it as almost like a glorified, extremely detailed radar gun. Oh, here comes gas when he's going to make a pitch change. But yeah, so immediately you'll get, on a pitch, you'll get spin rate, velocity, tilt, and like X and Y axis. So basically, if it's a curveball, you'll see a lot of Y because it'll move up to down. And then if it's a slider, you'll see more of a heavy X axis because it'll move horizontally. And then hitters, you'll get exit velocity, which is how fast the ball comes off the bat, projected distance of where the ball travels. I think that's all you get for hitters. It's more used as kind of a pitching tool to see what the pitchers are up to. But it's definitely really good, and it's been useful, and I'm glad we added it this year.
There you go. So the Kettleers using innovative technology, and is most of the Cape League teams, are they using it too?
Yeah, it's there's a box at all 10 stadiums, and so myself and another intern, Dan Fortier, we are the Cotuit TrackMan guys. We're the only 2 team interns in the league who can operate TrackMan, so that's a little fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who operates TrackMan at other stadiums?
So it's me and Dan will do all the Cotuit games. We'll alternate. And then it's other 4 interns hired by TrackMan. They'll go to their own little parks on any given night.
Wow. We got a pitching change here for Hyannis. That'll be all for Jordan Fowler, who works 3 1/3 innings, allowing 6 hits and 5 runs, including 2 solo home runs, 1 from Thomas Dillard and 1 from Zach Humphreys in this inning. Kettleers have extended the inning with 1 out. The walk from Ellis and then the double by Robertson, who moved up to second on the throw, actually, just a single into right field. Ellis goes first to third. So the Kets are in business here in the bottom of the fourth with 2 runners in scoring position and a new pitcher coming on. We'll get you the new name when we come back, and we'll be right back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Kettleers up 5-0. Bottom of the fourth inning still here at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers a 5-0 lead over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Runners on second and third. Michael Tolia comes to the plate, and a new pitcher out of the Hyannis bullpen. It is Zach Cohn, who comes on, number 35, a right-hander replacing the left-hander Jordan Fowler. Zach Cohn out of the bullpen, 6'4", 205 pounds, a rising junior from Mount Pleasant, Michigan, the home of the Central Michigan Chippewas. A little action. So now we got John Baker on the mound out of Ball State, and we've got a CMU representative in Cohn, who comes into this ball game inheriting a situation with 1 out, runners on second and third, and the Kettleers with arguably one of their better hitters at the plate, and Michael Tolia, who bats from the left side. First pitch from Cohn, outside out of the stretch, ball 1. So the home run from Zach Humphreys gives the Kettleers a 5-zip lead. Pete Flaherty still with us in the booth. With guests in the booth today, we've been scoring runs all over the place. Al Benjamin joined us earlier, the World War II veteran who threw out the first pitch.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Pretty awesome. 94 years old.
Yeah, that was awesome.
As now Pete Flaherty's with us, and we've seen a home run with you and the Kettleers knocking on the door for more.
Oh, yeah, that was my wish. I said I hope we see a 4 spot in the 4th. So
Was that what your bold prediction was
that
today?
was my bold prediction. We see a 4 spot in the 4th.
Okay, my bold prediction for today was Burdick gets on 3 times and scores 3 runs. I'm on good pace
won.
right now.
He's got 1 hit and 1 run.
What was mine? Oh, mine was that Duke Ellis would be a home run shy of the cycle.
Oh,
That's
wow.
funny. My dad's prediction was that Duke Ellis would hit a home run.
2-0 to Tolia, sent high in the air towards left field, but that'll tail out foul. It's a 2-1 count to the big man from UCLA. That's a thing we do around here. Cotuit interns like to throw out the bold predictions, and I don't think we've had anybody really stick the landing yet.
I don't think anyone's hit. We've had a lot of close predictions. We've had a lot, but none have quite hit yet.
Of course, my favorite one was your counterpart, Dan, who said we're going to go on a 7-game win streak. And we won a game against Chatham, then went to Falmouth and tied. And in the 12th inning with 2 outs, he texted in our group chat. I changed it to a 7-game unbeaten streak.
I respect the hustle. You know, if we go on a 10-game winning streak, I have to get cornrows. So
Swing and a miss from Tolia there. That's the second out of the inning. A big one there from Cone out of the bullpen. So Dillard will come to the plate, still with runners in scoring position. Have you ever had cornrows before? You say that like you have previous experience or something.
I've not had previous experiences with cornrows. I just remember when I was about 5 or 6 when the Red Sox 04 World Series run.
Bronson. Oh, I love Bronson.
And I was like, I want to get cornrows like Bronson Arroyo. And I've always thrown out crazy like win streaks and like predictions. Like I'll get cornrows if X happens, and it's just never hit. So I might have to change. A 10-game winning streak up here is almost a quarter of the season. So I might have to reconsider and drop it down to Dan's 7 games. Unbeaten though, unbeaten.
The lucky 7.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great, man. A 1-0 count to Dillard as he takes low with another fastball from Cone. 2-0 the count with 2 outs here. It's Robertson on second base, Ellis on third base. Dillard is the batter, batting from the left side. Kettleers up by 5 and trying to extend their lead even more here at home. Cone with the 2-0. Misses high and away with the fastball, and it's 3-0 to Dilly. I said beforehand that a nice, healthy, like 7-0 win.
Oh, I think that would be huge for this team. Just a stress-free win, because even our wins lately, we've had to sweat it out. You know, the win at Bourne, it was back and forth. Chatham was tough. You know, this team is just as I like to call them, they're just a lot of dirt dogs. Just a lot of lunch pail guys who show up every day just ready to work.
I love that. Bring your lunch pail to work every day.
Yeah.
Here's a 3-1 from Cone. It bounces at the plate. Pages stops it, but it's ball 4 to Dillard, who will go down to first base. The base was open, but it loads up the bases with 2 outs here in the bottom of 4, and Ryan Reynolds will step to the plate. And this is a guy, he can get a hold of one, could be dangerous.
I agree. I'll do a spot bold prediction. I think he's going to double and clear the bases in the right center field gap, giving us an 8-0 lead in my 4-run fourth.
Boom. All right.
I love a spot bold prediction.
It's bold, no pun intended. But you know, Ryan's due. He's been up there swinging. His swing looks great, and I think he's going to get it going really soon. He's going to start right here.
Both with him and Duke Ellis, both the Texas guys. I watched them in BP. I think their swings are really solid.
They have great swings, and they had great seasons at Texas too. Duke hit, I think, 395 in Big 12 play, and you know, that's hard to do in any conference. But when you're in the Big 12 facing big-time arms every Friday and Saturday night, I mean, for him to do what he's been doing, he would go 2 for 4, 3 for 4, almost on a nightly basis from about April to May. And he boosts his average, I think, maybe like 65 points.
Wow.
Yeah. No, he went on a real hot streak, and Ryan had a very solid, sound season. He was excellent at the hot corner for him. He made a lot of web gems.
He was a big part of their order, too, giving Cody Clemens protection.
Oh, yeah. He was huge for him. He hit 260, but he had a lot of hard hit balls. He had a lot of balls right at people. So, yeah, I think he's going to get it going down here. And Duke's already shown that he's kind of gotten it going and carried it over from Texas a little bit. And I'm most impressed with Duke's speed. I mean, I knew he had speed, but he can fly.
Here's a 3-0 pitch to Reynolds. Upstairs just above the belt, and he walks with the bases loaded. Another Cotuit run will come home to score, and his Texas teammate Duke Ellis. And now it's 6-0 Kettleers, so not the bases clearing double, but good enough. There's 2 runs here in the 4th.
That was a real dirt dog at bat. Not trying to do too much with the ball. Well, he didn't swing, but just making life hard on the pitcher.
So Ellis comes home to score. Bases are still loaded with 2 outs in the 4th for Peyton Burdick, who will step in. First pitch from Cone. Called strike on the inner half of the plate at 91 miles an hour in an 0-1 count. Bird with the RBI single his first time up, back in the 2nd inning, and he eventually came around to score on Salvatore's RBI single. The 0-1 from Cone, ripped into the air, deep left field near the foul pole. Not in play, a foul ball from Burdick, who nearly got a hold of one for his 4th home run of the season. It would have been a grand slam, except just inches foul.
Oh,
boy, oh boy.
Grand slam, right?
Man, I thought that was gone off the bat. And our video guy, Max, he said Bird's going to hit a grand slam this pitch. And he was, I couldn't get a good view, but I'd assume feet, maybe inches away.
It was
just
close.
A little out in front of the
It was close. Orleans-esque, I'll say that. Here's the 0-2
Exactly.
to Bird again. He's able to chop it off foul and stay alive.
Steven Schock in the bullpen. He was jumping up and down, signaling home run.
Oh, Shock is the man. I bet he
going
was.
nuts. Have you ever hung out down there in the bullpen doing your
I
game?
have. It's a really fun spot to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I was doing the track, man, and actually had a real position with the team, I'd go down there for a few innings, and you hear a lot of funny things.
An 0-2 count on Burdick with 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Cone. He rips right through it. Strike 3, and that will end the inning. The Kettleers leave 3 men, but they score 2. A solo home run from Zach Humphreys, a bases-loaded walk from Ryan Reynolds, and it's now 6-0 Cotuit as we head to the 5th. Special thanks, Pete Flaherty. Thanks for joining us in the booth, my friend.
It's an honor being on. You guys are the best in the league.
Hey, appreciate it, my guy. All right, hold down the fort down there.
Yes, sir.
That's Pete Flaherty, GM intern for the Cotuit Kettleers. We head to the 5th. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back here at Lowell Park, top of the 5th inning, and it's an onslaught right now. Kettleers on top of the Harbor Hawks, 6-0, and cool John Baker back on for the 5th. It is the 5th inning, so it's trivia time. Special thanks to Pete Flaherty for joining us in the 4th. Hey, how about the innings when we've had guests? We had Al Benjamin on for the 2nd. Kettleers scored 3. And then Pete on for the 4th. Kettleers scored 2. It's 6-0. Here's the first pitch from Baker to Will Holland, fouled off. Our trivia question today. So Cotuit has won 5 of the last 6 Patriot Cups over Hyannis, with a 5-1 season series win that started the run back in 2012. That year in 2012, which former Kettleer had 7 RBIs, a home run, and a triple during that season series? And we have a hint, Space City. Is it A, Jacob May, B, Tony Kemp, C, Derek Smith, or D, Patrick Biondi? 0-1 from Bake. Swung on, and it's a high pop-up in the infield. Right there for Corey Wood, who makes the easy snag for out number 1. Head over to @Cotuit Kettleers on Twitter. You can answer it. Use the hint for your disposal. This is the first time this season we've allowed a hint.
Yes, it is.
So I'm hoping that might help the people out.
Unprecedented territory. Is this a level 2, Sam?
I think it's like a level 4. I think it's
Out of
pretty
5?
tough. I think it's a tough question.
Okay.
Tommy Jew up now for Hyannis. Again, the question is, which Kettleer had 7 RBIs, a home run, and a triple during the Hyannis Cotuit Patriot Cup Series in 2012? A, Jacob May, B, Tony Kemp, C, Derek Smith, or D, Patrick Biondi. The hint is Space City. 1-1 count, little flare foul, and it's a 1-2 count for Tommy Jew. A gaucho out of the University of California, Santa Barbara. Best nickname in college sports?
It's pretty good.
It's up there.
It's pretty good.
It's certainly up there as the Gaucho digs in to face off against the Ball State Cardinal. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball pinned outside corner. A called strike 3 for John Baker. That's number 5 on the day. And now 2 outs.
Bake's been dealing today. Really been getting after it with first pitch strikes. On all the batters he's faced today, they're 12 of the first 14 that he's faced, first pitch strikes, including that at bat to Tommy Jew with a nice breaking ball to get the outside corner call.
John Baker has 46 strikes today, 18 balls, and he sends another first pitch strike, this time to the Justin Turner lookalike, Davis Wenzel. It's strike 1. Wenzel 0 for 2 today. Here's the 0-1, swung on and hammered deep to left, a moonshot. Going back is Burdick. He looks up, and it's over the fence. A home run for Davis Wenzel. The Baylor Bear trotting the base paths, and he has Hyannis on the board. It's 6-1 Cotuit.
Wenzel got all of that one. That was a big hit over there to left center field, and finally Hyannis with a little bit of life from their Justin Turner lookalike. But no harm done for John Baker. Still 2 outs in the inning. He's got run support. Still a 5-run lead for the Kettleers on home territory. No problem at all. You just take that one, put it in the rearview mirror, and get the next guy.
So Cotuit 6, Hyannis 1. It's Braden Como now out of Rice, the second baseman. Takes a first pitch and hammers it foul. Loud thud off the top of the Hyannis dugout. An 0-1 count, top of the 5th. Here at Lowell Park, the Kettleers scored 3 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth. Baker's second pitch to Como is slapped foul, an 0-2 count. 2 home runs today for Cotuit. 1 a solo shot to lead off the third from Thomas Dillard. And then another solo home run to straightaway left from Zach Humphreys. 0-2 with 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Baker. Again slapped foul onto the right side, and the count stays pat at no balls, 2 strikes. So we've had now 3 home runs this season from guys who have 1 or fewer home runs college. 0-2 from Baker, swung on a grounder up the middle. Salvatore's there, he gets it, throws to first, and that's out number 3. So John Baker gives up a home run to Davis Wenzel, but no problem for Cotuit. It's Kettleers 6, Harbor Hawks 1, heading into the home half of the 5th. We'll be back with the rest of the 5th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, bottom of the 5th between the Kettleers and the Harbor Hawks, and Cotuit is up 6-1. Hyannis getting their first run across in the 5th on a moonshot solo home run from Davis Wenzel and Zach Cohn. Not the Zach Cohn out of Duke who played shortstop for the Kettleers last year, but the Zach Cohn out of Central Michigan who's pitching for Hyannis. He's on for the fifth. He'll face off against the 7-8-9 hitters Corey Wood, Mike Salvatore, and Zach Humphreys. First up is Corey Wood. I was beginning a thought at the end of the top of the fifth about 3 home runs this season from Kettleers, not known for hitting home runs. We have the Zach Humphreys home run today. He only has 2 home runs in his TCU career, none in 2018. Last week, Bo Brundage hit a walk-off home run. That was only his 3rd ever college home run. And the guy at the plate now, Corey Wood, hit a home run earlier this year after hitting none last season at Coastal Carolina. And Corey takes ball 2 outside. It's the 5th inning, so trivia time. We brought this question forward with the hint to start the inning. In 2012, 5-1 Patriot Cup win over Hyannis for Cotuit. Which Kettleer had a home run and 7 runs batted in with a triple in that season series? Was it Jacob May, Tony Kemp, Derek Smith, or Patrick Biondi? The hint is Space C. Over to our Twitter page at Cotuit Kettleers. Tell us what you think. 2-1 count, the pitch from Cone, high at the letters, ball 3.
Well, if you use the hint, you can get the question using the hint. Use it to your advantage. But think. Mental calisthenics. Don't use Google. Think.
No Google allowed. The 3-1 is low, ball 4. Corey Wood draws a walk, and the leadoff man aboard again for Cotuit as the Kettleers look to churn out some runs from the bottom of this lineup. Mike Salvatore and Zach Humphreys have driven in 2. They've each scored 2. Salvatore with a single in the 2nd, and Humphreys with a double in the 2nd and a home run in the 4th. How about the bottom of this lineup today?
Bottom of the order has been sneaky good. Humphreys coming in good. Salvatore with the base hit to drive in one earlier as well. These are a couple of guys that it just takes sparks from different guys stepping up each time. That's what this team needs. And on a day like today where you really want to turn the ship in the right direction, everybody's stepping up to the plate and contributing in their own way.
6-1 Cotuit, an 0-1 count. Here's the pitch to Salvatore, hits the outside corner, strike 2. Corey Wood at first, he's on because of a walk. And now Mike Salvatore out of Florida State. 1 for 2 today, a .269 hitter. Shortstop with the high socks. Here's the 0-2 outside, ball 1. And he's got those Florida State cleats. The maroon and gold Seminole cleats look real good with the Cotuit uniform.
The garnet and gold, actually. Garnet and gold. But very close to maroon.
1-2. Brings him up. Called strike 3, a late call from the home plate umpire, Joe Peters. Salvatore shaking his head as he heads back to the dugout. 1 out. So
Garnet.
Garnet.
I
What's
only
the
know
difference
that.
between garnet and maroon?
I think garnet is just a little lighter. Maroon's a little darker, so you think Texas A&M, Mississippi State.
Cotuit Kettleers.
Cotuit Kettleers. Garnet, I only know that because my 7th and 8th grade junior high, the Riverside Golden Hawks.
There goes the runner. Here's a high fly ball from Humphreys. It's into left field, barefoot, and it's down, a base hit. It gets by barefoot. Now Humphreys charging into second, a head first slide. The throw not in time. He's safe at second, and Corey Wood moves over to third. How about Zach Humphreys? Now 2 doubles and a home run today, and the Kettleers cooking with runners on second and third.
Humphreys has had himself a day. That double there, just a little arcing blooper into left field. It finds its way down near the line, and he hustled all the way. Was not staring at it down the line, just went until he was told to stop, and he slid in head first at second base for a 1-out double, turning it over to the top of the order. Wonderful job, Zach Humphreys.
Leadoff man, Duke Ellis. Here's the first pitch to Duke. Swing and a miss for strike 1. So let's pick up where we left off.
Yeah, finish the thought. Garnet and gold, just my junior high school, the Riverside Golden Hawks, we were always the garnet and gold, and we modeled ourselves off of Florida State's color scheme.
It's a solid color scheme as Duke Ellis takes ball 1 outside. So 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out for Cotuit in the bottom of the 5th. Runners aboard, second and third. Wood at third. And Zach Humphreys at second. Here's the 1-1. Fastball down the pipe, taken for strike 2. Zach Humphreys today playing his best offensive game of the season, 2 doubles and a home run. He's aboard at second. And Duke Ellis looking to bring the men around. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Zach Cohn set out of the stretch. Here's the pitch to Ellis. He swings, and it's a high chopper on the right side. A little collision, and the ball gets through into the outfield. Corey Wood comes around the score easily, and Zach Humphreys is held up at third. Runners on the corners for Cotuit with 1 out. There was a miscommunication between Brady Lindsley, the first baseman for Hyannis, and the pitcher Zach Cohn. They both converged on the ball at the same time, kind of collided right as Cohn picked it up, threw it into the outfield, allowing the run to come in. The umpire's now converging on the first base side, but for the meantime, it'll be runners on the corners, 1 out. Cotuit now up 7-1.
That was a funny little play because that ball was between either the first baseman and Lindsley or the pitcher, and they both went for it, and Lindsley would have had the runner at third base. He was looking him back hard, and Wood wasn't going to go, but then after they tried to tag Ellis, which he dodged the tag, I believe he stayed within the baseline, and then the throw to try and get him on a throw at first base went into right field. That allowed the run to score. But kind of an awkward play. I think what they're conferencing about is, was he tagged out initially?
It was certainly a miscommunication between Cohn, the pitcher, and Lindsley, the first baseman. Now the umpires' meeting is over. Mike Roberts will come over for a quick chat. Chad Gassman and Ron Polk, head coach and lead assistant for Hyannis, are both out on the field. And Roberts right now talking to the 2 umpires. He doesn't seem to look too happy as he
I think I see the home plate umpire making a motion with the fist saying the runner is out. Nevertheless, that run's going to be home to score, whether it's an RBI ground out or just reaching on an error there. Yeah, I don't know. They put it up on the scoreboard as a second error. The throwing error, just call it an infield single.
Roberts certainly doesn't look happy. He's talking with Pat Burns, the third base umpire, and Joe Peters, the first base umpire. On the first base side, Joe Caraco having a lengthy discussion with the pair of Hyannis coaches. Either way, the run comes in to score. That was Corey Wood coming in. 7th run of the day for Cotuit, and the Kettleers lead it 7-1 on the either out or hit from Duke Ellis. We'll await the official word as the meeting is over, and now home plate umpire Joe Peters puts his fist up, indicating an out. And here comes the Boo Birds. You hear it behind us. Mike Roberts throwing his arms up at Duke Ellis, who throws his arms up at Joe Peters, saying, "What are you talking about, Joe?" But Ellis will head back to the dugout, and now Mike Roberts makes a beeline to first to talk to Joe Caraco, the first base umpire.
I was going to say, you had that call. That was right in front of you. But then the umpires reconvened together and reversed it. Don't see that every day. Nevertheless, the Kettleers will take the run scored. A productive job by Ellis to ground that to the right side. Obviously, a little slower and weaker than you would have anticipated, which allowed the runner to have to stay put for the moment. But because of the miscue on the throw, it allows the run to come home and score at the end of the day.
So Mike Roberts now heading back to the dugout. He's gotten all he wanted out of these umpires. So Duke Ellis is out. There was a tag out at first. That's the official word. Either way, the run comes in for Cotuit, so the Kettleers get run number 7. That was Corey Wood coming home to score. Zach Humphreys moved over to third on the play. So now runner on third for Will Robertson, 2 outs. First pitch to Will, fastball outside, and ball 1. 7 runs on 7 hits for the Kettleers, just 1 run on 5 hits for Hyannis. A 1-0 count for Robertson. He's awaiting the pitch. Here it is. Popped outside, ball 2. This has been some much-needed offense for the Kettleers after an 8-1 loss to Wareham on Tuesday, a 17-7 loss to Falmouth on Thursday. It feels like the Kettleers are letting it all out. Here's the 2-0 to Robertson. He pops it foul into the parking lot. And now the count runs to 2-1. The Kettleers have now scored a run in each of the last 4 innings. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And they're up 6. 2-1 the count for Robertson. Here comes the pitch, and he swings right through it for strike 2. Remember to head over to @Cotuit Kettleers on Twitter. Check out our trivia question. Vote, and we'll have the answer for you in the next couple of innings. 2-2. That's the count. 2 outs, a runner on third. Robertson looking to drive him home. And here comes the pitch from Cone. Swing and a little flare out into left field. Coming over is the shortstop Holland. It drops over his shoulder. And that'll score a run. Zach Humphreys is home. He scores, and it's 8-1 Cotuit. RBI single, Will Robertson.
Good poke by Robertson there. Just hit it into a little Bermuda triangle out there in shallow left field. Holland, the shortstop, wasn't able to make a play on it. I think the shadows might have had some effect on him as he just sort of slid, didn't even make an effort to put his glove up. Never had a chance at that ball. Able to bring the base runner home in Humphreys, and the Kettleers have 2 more here in this inning. A nice job by Will Robertson at the plate with 2 strikes. And 8-1 lead sure does sound nice here in the 5th inning.
That was about as pure of a Bermuda triangle as you'll see. It was the left fielder Barefoot, shortstop Holland, and the third baseman Wenzel just feet away from each other, and the ball fell perfectly in between the 3 of them to score the 8th run of the day for Cotuit. 2 outs, man on first. Here's Michael Tolia batting lefty against the righty Zach Cone. First pitch to him, hit on the outside corner, strike 1. So 2 runs in this inning for the Kettleers. A little more unorthodox than some of the big ball home runs we saw. But it's 2 runs nonetheless. They lead it by 7. The 0-1 pitch, hammered foul. That was a screamer down the left field line, and it's an 0-2 count. Last at-bat for Michael Tolia was a strikeout, but before that was a deep flyout right to the track in center field with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the second, just inches away from a grand slam. And that was before we saw Peyton Burdick fall just feet away from a grand slam on a foul ball down the left field line. Here's the 0-2 to Tolia. Swung on a little ground ball to the shortstop Will Holland. He flips to second for the easy putout, and that ends the inning. But the Kettleers add 2 more runs. An RBI single from Will Robertson sends home run number 8, and the Kettleers are up 7 heading into the top of the 6th. We'll be back with the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to beautiful Lowell Park, ready to begin the 6th inning of play as it's the Cotuit Kettleers on top of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, 8-1 here in the top of the 6th. 3, 4, and 5 due up for Hyannis. Barefoot, Hoffer, and Pages to face the right-hander John Baker, who deals in a first pitch that's ripped into left field for a base knock. Matthew Barefoot with his 2nd single of the day, and he pounces right on Baker to lead off the 6th with a single. So John Baker for Cotuit working into his 6th frame. He's only allowed 1 run on 6 hits so far. The benefactor of an 8-run performance for his offense so far today. Kettleers have scored in 4 consecutive frames, 2 in the bottom of the 5th, capped off by Robertson's RBI single. Here's Trevor Hauber, the right fielder out of Arizona State, who's 2 for 2 on the day with 2 base knocks. Batting from the left side as Baker deals from the stretch, missing upstairs with a fastball. Cotuit infield at double play depth. Salvatore and Wood, the middle infielders, pinching in towards the bag at second. Michael Tolia holding on the runner in barefoot at first. Baker's 1-0. Called strike on the outside corner. A nice changeup there to even the count at 1-1. Hyannis scoring their only run of the day and their last time at the plate. The solo home run from Davis Wenzel. Bakes 1-1, swing and a miss. Nice slider there as he fooled Hauver, and he gets ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The leadoff single from Matthew Barefoot. He's on first base. Hauver, the Arizona State Sun Devil, at the plate. There's a pick over to first from Baker, but not in time. Kettleers trying to snap this 2-game losing streak here in this now abbreviated homestand. Supposed to be 4 games, but yesterday's game against Bourne rained out. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Strikeout swinging, number 6 on the day for John Baker as he retires Hauver, and there's 1 down here in the 6th.
Man, this is such a vintage John Baker game. When you throw strikes, you're going to get rung up for a few hits. 6 today for Hyannis. But Baker's done such a good job with the situational pitching, with runners on base all the way in the first inning. He did that with 2 runners on and 2 outs, got out of a jam with a ground out. Obviously, the only error for him is that home run, but what a gem of an outing so far.
His first pitch to Pedro Pages is a called fastball for a strike on the outside corner. Another first pitch strike from Baker, the right-hander out of Ball State. He comes set, staggered in the stretch. His 0-1, sweeping breaking ball off the plate. Pages, the big catcher out of Florida Atlantic University, 0 for 2 today, popped out to third his last time up. Baker in the shadows on the mound. Here's his 1-1, fouled off towards the right side, and once again, ahead of the count for John Baker. Kettleers 8, Hyannis 1 here in the top of the 6th inning, 1 out. Baker, the starter on the mound, working nicely against this Hyannis offense that came into today 4th in the league in an average with 258 on their ledger. The 1-2 to Pages is upstairs at the shoulders. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kettleers with 8 runs on 8 hits. One of the more pleasant offensive days we've seen from the team this season. Here's Bakes 2-2. Fouled off hard again on the right side by Pages, who stays alive.
It's been so nice to see the runs spaced out. A lot of games this season, we've seen all the Kettleers runs come in an inning or 2, but runs in each of the last 4 innings. It's just been a constant flow of offense.
Baker's set. Here's his 2-2 again. Little ground ball on the right side, taken by Tolia, who'll throw on to second for 1. They won't get Baker covering back at first for the 2nd out. It's a 3-6 fielder's choice as Pages will reach base. Barefoot out at second, and there are 2 down here in the 6th.
Well, if the Kettleers were able to pull that one off, it would be a 3-6-1 double play. Been a while since I've seen something like that.
Seth Gray, the new batter. He grounds one on the right side. Slow for Corey Wood, who ranges left, and he'll make the play for the final out of the inning. So John Baker works around a leadoff single and retires Hyannis here in the top of the 6th. We head to the bottom half with the Kettleers still in front, 8-1. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.